Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, we are Joe and Jay Outspoken. For those of you that are, yeah, he's Joe, I'm Jay. So if you are returning, welcome back. We've noticed lately that we've got a lot of people watching the show, but not a lot of people subscribe. So yeah. Definitely get in there and click that subscribe button and the little notification bell.
Yeah.
That'll keep you updated whenever we're launching shows. We launch a new show every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday.
And by doing that, guys, by subscribing, it allows us to see exactly like those videos that people really like.
Exactly.
And that way we know what subjects to speak about. Although we don't care. We do it anyway.
Opinions matter, just not yours.
Nah, just kidding. We love everybody's opinions. Some might make it on the air, some might not. Right? I don't know. We're still deciding.
But it's true. Even if you watch the shows all the time and you're giving us thumbs up every time, and maybe there's a show that you're like, it wasn't too. Yeah, go ahead and give that a thumbs down. Seriously, because that helps us where we know where we need to create content out there. And again, we started this channel as something that we could, just get out there and talk about stuff we wanted to, that we talk about it every day anyways. But
in our bedroom. Just kidding.
Wow.
No, anyway, guys,
Pillow talk.
Yeah, just subscribe, guys. Make sure you get all those new episodes that we come out. We got some real interesting ones coming up. We also got a new series, so make sure you follow along on those mid-month Wednesdays. So
Outspoken Men's Edition.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
all right.
So we're talking about everybody's favorite anti-hero here. I'm sure you know who it is.
Is it my dad? Is it my dad?
It's Daddy.
Yeah, Papa Trump. Yeah.
So
I call him El Don.
El Don. All right. Well, let's get into this.
All right, guys. Let's do it.
All right. All right. Well, welcome back. Here we go.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
So we see Trump in the news all the time.
All the time.
And I'm gonna first to tell you, the guy is not the greatest speaker. Like clearly he wasn't in the Toastmasters class.
Well, he's better than the current guy.
Well, he could all right, let me take that back. He could create and speak full sentences, right?
Yeah.
And then put those together into a paragraph, right? But he's not proper. I guess the correct way of saying he's not a politician, right? He doesn't know.
Thank goodness.
Because I want to tell you one thing. I almost voted Barack. That guy was so well spoken.
Yeah,
he reminds me of Vivek. He is
very
so
well spoken.
But it turned out that he kind of divided this country quite a bit.
Yeah.
So he's not good at that. Clearly, we go to the opposite end of the spectrum where we have our current president.
Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. For people to have bad health care. For people to have bad health care.
Over there, that creek, man, I found a couple of soaps on the arrowhead.
Your Uncle Joe?
That's the one that you just leave at the home.
Uncle
you know what I mean?
Jojo.
Yeah, the one you don't visit. But anyway, good old Joey over there. He I don't know. What's that? I don't know. Was he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. True international effort to pressure. True international effort to pressure.
I'm like, he can't even make a sentence up. So
it's actually really sad.
It is. I'm like, so here's the thing we're going to talk about Trump and how hated he is. And I don't even know where this comes from. I don't even know where it started, like this anger for Trump. He was America's most lovable billionaire back in the 90s. Yeah, I don't know if you remember. Like he was out there, like everyone loved him because the guy was giving money, right?
Yeah.
He's giving money to everybody, to every charity, to everyone that asks for him, like, hey, can I get this for that? Whatever. And you had Oprah Winfrey was like his favorite guy.
Right.
You had he was around greats, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He was around Al Sharpton, right? He was around who's that other one that ran for president?
Jesse Jackson.
Jesse Jackson, right? Miss Jackson, if you nasty, right? So
who knows how he identifies now?
Yeah, but everyone loved him. Everyone loved them. They're like, oh, Trump. They made sure they took pictures with him, right? In all his in his grace, whether it's at one of his hotels, one of his resorts, because there was a boxing, or whether he was at a fundraiser, or whether he was giving money for a school or for whatever it was,
or campaigns for Democratic candidates,
because he was a Democrat. He was a Democrat. Yeah. So he was everyone's favorite, like I said, billionaire until he wasn't. Right. So what changed? What? I mean, like, the guy was everywhere. Like, if you think he doesn't speak well now, go back to the 90s and Google him. And dude made commercials, and I don't know what he did, but do you remember some of this stuff?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is he did so many cameos in movies, right? So Hollywood can't stand him now, because Hollywood is very leftist, very liberal,
very progressive,
very progressive.
Yeah.
And, so if everybody has always disliked him, why would they have given him these bit parts?
All these platforms.
Yeah. In movies back in the day, he was in tons of rappers talked about him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was mentioned many times in their deals, because he was looked at as, this is a guy that was wealthy, and
but he did donate, though. He donated to a lot of good causes.
And guys, I know what's going to happen. There's going to be people and say, well, how about this one instance where he kicked this person out, or this one instance where he didn't do this right, or what have you. The guy's not a saint, all right? He's not perfect, just like everybody else.
But that's the thing, Jay. Some of these are just rumors. Like, how do we know that these things happen too, right? Because when people started hating him, all kinds of false narratives started coming up about him.
Absolutely right.
So we don't know. I mean, there was also a narrative that came out that there was this homeless person who he housed in one of his
and he said,
properties.
Don't kick her out. Just go ahead and let her stay there. There was another one where a family was driving by, and they see a limo broken down on the side of the road. They pull over, and surprise, surprise, it's Trump and his entourage in this limo. Well, the limo's got a flat tire, and the guy in the truck helps him change it and get it fixed, whatever, whatever the story is. And like within that month, they get a letter in the mail that their house is now fully paid for.
Yeah.
And Trump,
why didn't I fix his tire?
Yeah, no kidding, right? And so, there's these things that could be negative towards him, but there's these things that are really great that he does out of the goodness of his heart. And
but are they not forgivable? I mean, like, this is the thing that I don't understand. This is where I keep going back and forth with the progressive side, is like, you had, and clearly at none of these points or none of these levels was he like said anything racist, right? He might have said something about, grabbing a crotch here and there, but who doesn't, right? Behind closed doors. I mean, I say it all the time in open doors. So, so I don't understand what the problem is, but here you have a career politician by the name of Joseph Stalin Biden, and I'm just kidding, that's not his middle name, but he's talking about segregation, about what, it was a jungle in the buses, and like he was talking crazy.
Find any clip anywhere, and let us know where Trump used the N-word.
He never did.
There's twice that I know of that Biden did, and I'm sure there's many more that are. I mean, you can find them on YouTube right now. So who's truly the racist guy in this whole thing?
But yet, Trump is the one getting crucified. So where do you think? Let me ask you this, Mr. J. That's I said. That's so weird. Anyway, all right, let me ask you this. What's your view on
You're
this?
being racist.
I hate that name, Jay.
You're racist against the letter J. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I hate Jay. But anyway, from your perspective, why do you think he's hated so much?
So, in my humble opinion, I think this all came down when he put in his bid for presidency, because right before that had happened, he had been talking quite a bit. And if you go back, so rewind a little bit farther, he wrote a book called Why
Grab a woman by the crotch.
Yeah, it's sold out, paperback, boy. So he wrote this book called Why We Want You to Be Rich with Robert Kiyosaki, who is a huge what do you call it? Real estate developer.
He's the guy that made the Nagasaki building.
That Bruce Willis had to go save. That's a whole different subject there. No, and Robert Kiyosaki's awesome. He wrote the book that's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So that was his own book. And then Trump got a hold of him and they wrote a book together called Why We Want You to Be Rich. Well, inside that, they explain in that book, and this is written quite a ways back. I don't have the date on it and everything. You can freely look it up. You can order the book on Amazon or what have you.
Yeah, we'll put a little something right here.
Yeah.
Right here for you.
They explained about the 2008 crash, that it was coming, right? And one of the things that Trump talks about is that, it's really important for us to not rely on the government and all these kind of things. And this is about the time that Trump, long before he was president, started going to the other side of the fence, because he saw that the leftist progressive Democrat system was failing the country and really bringing everything down.
Yeah. This was in the 90s, right? Like around 90s, early 90s.
Yeah. And so I think at that time they started realizing that he would not always be one of their donors and whatnot, Yeah. Excuse me. So when he put in his bid for presidency, I truly believe that those people, they saw right away that they're going to have a guy that's they can't influence, because
they can't buy. Let's say
they can't buy him. Yeah. He already has money. And that's the thing. All of you, I don't care if you're lefty, righty, whatever. We all know this as a fact, that there are groups in Washington,
shadow government.
Yeah. That are, their whole job is to go to these senators and all these different people and convince them to vote or, swing laws in a specific way. Lobbyists. Yeah. They are. So the lobbying system is huge in Washington. And again,
so that's like a legitimate bribing thing, right? A payoff thing, kind of like the thing that we accuse Mexico of being dirty. This is the legitimate version of it here.
Yeah,
right?
The legitimate dirt.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you that just so you know that, so mostly people that are lobbyists, and correct me if I'm wrong, are people that work. They usually work for like big pharma, oil companies, right, things like that. Correct.
Yeah. So one of the big lobbying deals back in the day, if you go way before Trump and all this, was big tobacco. Big tobacco was a huge lobbying industry, and they had, I guess I could say the name, Philip Morris was one of them, and they put a lot of money behind candidates and stuff that were going to do what? Be in favor of smoking, and not put. So here's another crazy thing. People don't know about this, but like the Surgeon General warning that's on packages of cigarettes, that was a big thing that they actually pushed towards. So
Coop was his name. I think the one that with the cigarette.
Was it Coop? Yeah.
C. Everett Koop.
There you go. Yeah. And so if you're old enough to remember, they used to have a bunch of those, gosh, I can't remember what the tagline was. But they had commercials about anti-smoking. You know who paid for that? The tobacco industry.
The tobacco industry.
Yeah, because it's kind of that whole thing of, so me being a musician, back in the day, there was a thing called the PMRC. I don't want to get too far off track, but I want to show you how you do the opposite of what. So it's like reverse psychology, basically. The PMRC was Al Gore and his wife. What was her name? Tipper Gore?
Tipper Gore.
Yeah, Tipper Gore. And she put together that whole thing where now on albums and CDs, and I don't have any of those so much anymore, but back in the day there was a thing that said explicit lyrics or whatever, the little black and white sticker.
Yeah, thanks a lot, NWA.
Well, NWA, yeah, they were one of the ones that
they got the first.
But here's the thing is that they got one of the first ones, and guess what happened? Their album sales went through the roof because kids wanted to be it's anti-parents and all that kind of stuff.
It's like that forbidden fruit.
It is. Don't touch the big red button.
Yeah, you touch a big red button.
Yeah. So yeah, that whole thing happened with the tobacco industry too, right? So fast forward, you've got all these lobbyists that they're extremely powerful, and they can make changes. So big business can make changes in DC just by pushing a lot of money and giving this money to these different politicians.
So let me ask you this: that's all fine and dandy, but that's all in Congress, right? How does that impact the president, though? See, so that my question falls or continues. So he was a Democrat. Believe it or not, back in the day, all this conservative stuff that we talk about now was a Democratic side that was doing it. And somehow it got flipped. And now the Republican side is the conservative side. As far as the actions, the conservative, I don't mean Republican. Conservative means this views and how we look at things as being conservative. Not all,
just because you're a Republican doesn't mean you're a conservative.
Right. There are some conservative Democrat as well.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, but anyway, what I'm saying is
liberal Republicans. It happens.
Yep. There's a lot of them.
But we call them ranos.
Yeah. The question here is, so Trump, who was always the guy was always in show business somehow. He was in the entertainment industry, right? The guy was a multi-millionaire, billionaire, but was involved in entertainment business because Trump was promoting fights at his place. He was doing all kinds of things. So a lot of people would come to him and whatnot. And plus, New York City, he was real well known, and the cameras followed him everywhere. Very popular. So fast forward a few years later, and he was talking about maybe Oprah Winfrey asked him in an interview one time, like, hey, have you ever considered running for president?
Oh, yeah.
And, he's like, I've dabbed in it, thought about it. I don't know how much impact I could do, but let me tell you why I want to do it. And he made his points very clear, which, remember, this is back in the 90s, which never changed. Those points he made there with Oprah are still the current ones that he talks about today. So clearly his views, and this is what people don't understand. The guy was a single kid. Like, he didn't have siblings. He went to private school. He had no relationship. He doesn't know how to talk to people. Right. The guy was, it was his parents and him.
Silver spoon.
Right. And the guy does business deals. So this is the way I see it. The career politicians who, no matter how you see it, they're, and I think someone said this a long time ago. I don't know if it was one of our founding fathers or someone after that, but they say that if you see a politician come out of politics richer than what he went in, then that's a crooked politician.
There you
right?
go. And they're all doing that now.
Right. So exactly. So I think one of the big things is that people are things like, okay, here comes a guy with a lot of influence, because politicians have influence, but billionaires have more because they have billionaire friends who in turn control a lot of the lobbyists, control a lot of.
There you go.
Right. So they're thinking, we cannot influence this man who already has a lot of influence over the people that we're trying to influence.
Correct.
And so now they're like, we can buy him, right?
Right.
Because the guys, we can't afford him.
Right.
Because clearly he makes more money.
Right. And
which is the only president came out poorer coming out than when he went in.
The only one.
Go figure. So
and they're trying to make him even poorer now.
So, right. So here's the thing. You went from talking about this in Oprah then to finally deciding to, and you're right. I agree with you 100%. I think the moment he said, I am running for president, the hatred poured in.
Dude,
but where did
people that had him on their shows, people that, never said a bad thing about him, all of a sudden he was the most evil man on the planet.
So here's the thing. And this is where, because me, bro, I don't buy, and you guys out there know, I don't buy into that conspiracy theory stuff. Yeah. I don't, right? I really don't.
The Simpsons called it.
You see what I mean? I could never get a straight conversation with this guy. He always brings up the Simpsons, and they're like the new Nostradamus.
Yeah, yeah, right.
But anyway,
Nostrabart.
Nostrabart. But you fast forward that to when he starts running for politics, and I started thinking, okay, how did all of a sudden he becomes a bad guy? Like how that quickly? Then I started thinking, wait a minute. And this is years later, like a couple years ago. I'm like, wait a minute. The left, which is powered by rich people, probably a little bit more richer than Trump, like Soros, right? Own the radio stations. So, and they own broadcasting,
and television.
And so I'm thinking they're the ones feeding it, right? They're feeding it to the media's feeding it to the public's eating it up. Like chop suey, right? And they're just blah, 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 right? Trump's this and Trump's that.
Chop suey.
We're always hungry. and then all of a sudden this secret audio comes out of grab him by the crotch, right? And everybody was like, oh my God, it's so, he is, and I'm thinking, did we forget about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky? Like
in the White House.
In the White House?
How about recently we're not even going to talk about that.
Oh, I mean, the two gay dudes in the chambers, like going at it.
Oh, let's brush that under the rug. We don't want to make a big deal out of that.
Oh, they were fired immediately after we took pictures. It was really good. Anyway, you can find it on Pornhub.
It is in 4K.
but this is the thing that's when I started thinking, you know what? Maybe me voting for Trump was the right call, because I mean, you know what? By no means am I comparing. By no means, because they're not even close to comparison. But Jesus was persecuted. Right.
Yeah.
And in society, the good guy gets persecuted a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Martin Luther King, he was persecuted. Right.
Yeah.
Who else? Just so many people, that are just good doers.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they're ahead of their time. Maybe whatever the case is, they get persecuted, or they get attacked, or they get whatever the case is. There's always an opposing force on them.
Right.
And the problem is that people are so quick to judge, to eat that media stew of lies, that they're just like, I don't need proof. I heard it from ABC, a very, very good news source. They don't lie on ABC, right? But then they just go and believe that. And then you start thinking, I'm like, how much is that really true? How much is it like, how much are you like blown it out of proportion?
Right.
And it's all about headlines, right? It's all about what, like, I see headlines about Trump nowadays, and they're just like scraping the bottom of the barrel, just trying to get a headline. Because just anything. Like, I think one came up of that when he was president, the pharmacy, because the White House has a pharmacy, it's like a little city.
Oh yeah.
They came up like, oh, he gave all these prescriptions, and like he's the one that's like, my name is Dr. Trump, I'm going to go ahead and prescribe this. Like he did it. Like it was, and they said, and I'm like, you guys are desperate right now. Like try to find something on him. But then I ask, here's my next question to you that I pose to you, sir, good sir, is why so much attack on Trump? Like I could see it, but for our viewers out there who might be on, teetering on that, I don't know, I'm a Republican.
Yeah,
but,
maybe I voted for him, but I don't like his mean tweets and weird stuff.
So let me ask, the why is it that anything anyone else does, like right now, have you heard anything about Hunter Biden? Nah, nothing. He's gone, right? Nothing happening. Who's in the news? He got $355 million that he has to pay now because he said some fraud in real estate in New York City, which is a practice that is done by every real estate mogul in New York City. Yeah. He did not defraud the banks. He paid back his loan.
And not one of the banks is suing him.
No, in fact, they testified in favor of him. Yeah. Okay.
That's crazy.
So there's that. And then the other one was that.
There's that.
That's one. The other one was that, do you remember E. Jean Carroll? The one that the girl has, rape me.
Oh, right?
Yeah. Which I think is a lie. He never did. She could not. He was never charged with anything. There was never any proof. Yeah. It was just her. So back in the day, they gave her like $5 million, right? Do you think that was the end of it? No. Trump called her a lie. That never happened. So guess what the court decided to do? After he already gave her $5 million back then for that, the civil, because there was no criminal, remember? Right. Well, she got awarded $83.3 million for defamation suit because he said no, it didn't happen. I'm like, bro, this is the U.S. You could still say that. I mean, how he called her a liar. She's a liar. There's no proof.
Yeah.
And they asked her these questions. They asked her like, hey, what do you do with that money? She's like, oh, I'm gonna go buy this and buy that. And her attorney's all, oh no, she's just kidding. Like, I'm like, that girl has some mental health issues, but yet because Trump's name is associated with that,
right?
Boom. So that's my question. Why is he plastered everywhere? Why is he like being like the poster child for the devil? Why is it that way with him? And why has it not been like that? Why isn't Hunter Biden out there in the news? Why isn't Joe Biden, even though they just said that he has a feeble mind, why is that not being talked about? The all these other things that are happening around us that has nothing to do with Trump, but Trump gets like charged or accused of going or threatened to go to jail because of those top secret things he had that were given to him, and as a president he was allowed to have, right, in a secured area where there's still Secret Service. No, he's like, no, he was selling secrets or whatever the case. He's friends with China and Russia and everybody else, right? And yet Biden had him in his garage sitting on top of it.
And he was not the president.
And he was not president. So he was a vice president. Not allowed to have these top secret things, right?
But
they were for your eyes only type.
Right.
And they said, but he's old and feeble, so we can't charge him.
He's too feeble to understand about some papers in his garage.
Bro, make me understand. He's So answer that. Why is it that Trump is the poster child for Lucifer Jr.?
So Trump is the most dangerous man in the world. Not because he's going to get into the White House and run the country into the ground like the current administration is. We've already seen how Trump can run the country. He's the most dangerous man in the world for those people, right? Not just the people, and everybody says, oh, you guys are, oh God, you're always talking about Democrats or the left or this. No, he's trouble for some of the Republicans too, because these people make a ton of money, okay, again, off of these lobbyists and other folks. There's all kinds of ways that this can happen. So when you can easily look this up, Google it, and research it more than just the first listing. Look at the people that are in Congress and presidents and everything else, how much they had coming into office and how much they have when they leave office. There is no way that with an $80,000 a year job that you are going to be this, like, have $40 million when you leave office. Listen, I've made quite a bit more than $80,000 a year in my life, and I'm nowhere near $80 million in the bank, right?
Or be like a honorary chair member of a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, and weird, and I mean, just some of the simple things, like, we sent Martha Stewart went to jail. Why'd she go to jail? For insider information, right? Insider trading and all that.
Which I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't. She got a tip to say, hey, get out of that or whatever.
Yeah. Which is what their job is, right? When you have a financial advisor, it's like, hey, you might want to get rid of this. It's not probably going to, this happened.
Told me that, I'd be like, all right, sounds good. And that happens all the time. You have people like Miss Pelosi that,
Miss Nancy, if you're nasty.
Yeah. It gets to, is in there and privy to information that they are going to vote on, and they buy into or sell out of stocks right before all that stuff happens. That shouldn't be legal, And so we're going to sit here and bash Trump on, his regular business dealings. Again, I'm not saying the guy's a saint. I'll never stand up and say that for him, but there is no way that you can say that he's worse, than all these other folks. So going back to Joe's question, you have a man that is, was in office and wasn't playing by the rules that they wanted him to play by. And they know dang well that when he gets back in office,
ring-a-ding-a-ling-dong,
he
gone. Not him, but the people that have been.
Yeah. See, you guys have to understand, presidents have 2 terms, right? They have their first 4 years and then their second 4 years hopefully if they're doing a good job, what have you.
Right.
So he had to play, even though he was rough and tweets and all this kind of stuff, his first 4 years, he had to play nice. And the thing is, he went into a lion's den not knowing who was the one that wanted to eat him.
Well, even people in his own party try to eat him alive. You know what I mean? Right.
So he had to play nice. If he gets another 4 years, they know this. He's not going to get another 4 years after that, right? He's only going to be in for 4 years, and he's going to tear them apart when he's in there. And that's what they're scared to death of, because they know now that he knows who they are, and he's going to go after all of them. And, you know, the first thing he does when he gets into office, do you think it's going to be he's going to go after them?
I think he's going to have to deal with fixing his country.
They
first.
already interviewed him, and he said, listen, those people will have their day, right? They'll have their time, but we got a lot of stuff we need to fix in this country. Now, you think about that right now. You as an individual sitting at home, if somebody went after your family the way that, and not even in that total amount, right? Say they're taking $10,000 out of your bank account. Maybe you don't even have 10 grand in your bank account right now, right? And they're going to take everything you have, and then you still owe them the deficit for that 10 million or the $10,000. And then they start going after your kids, and they're going to take things away from you and threaten to put you in jail and everything. If that all got turned around where you had an opportunity to seek revenge on those people, how much revenge would you seek on them? And the thing is that he is putting still to this day, and he's being, you know, they want him to pay back way more than $10,000. I mean, it's more money than most of us can fathom. He's still putting America first. He's still putting the people of this country first. Now, again, if you're a hater, that's fine. Go get the book.
Tell us why you're a hater.
Tell us why you're a hater. Go to a library. You can check it out for free. Get Why We Want You to Be Rich by Robert Kiyosaki.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Dianetics.
I'm just kidding, guys.
Yeah, we're not even going to go. Man, we'll get a target on our back if we go to that whole thing. Tom Cruise will come. No, he's out of that, I think now. But
no, he's still in it.
Is he? Oh, okay. So
he's a grand Mufasa.
The grand poobah. So that is the biggest thing, is that they have this ultimate fear of him getting back into office.
This is what I think, though, Jay. I don't think he's going to go like on a personal vendetta.
No,
I think what Trump's going to do, and I think he's going to expose them.
Yeah.
He's going to expose them, and to really see. Here's the thing that people don't understand, right? People are quick to judge him and just say, oh, look how evil. He had fences, little cages for the little children in the border. He kicked out so many people when he became president, blah, blah, blah. You know, all these things. People don't understand that Barack Obama.
The cages.
He brought those cages in. Bill Clinton created one of the most toughest immigration laws during his presidency.
Yeah.
And he also said that they're taking our jobs, right? And he's going to do everything. Right. And people loved him for that. Everybody's like, yeah, you know, they were cheering him on. But then all of a sudden Trump saying like, yeah, we're getting our country back. We're closing the borders. You're a racist.
Well,
so Bill Clinton can say it.
Yeah.
Barack Obama could do it. Right. But when it comes to Trump, rules change. Right. And that's what I have the problem on. It's not even that it's Bill. Oh my God. It's not even that it's my dad, Trump, right? It's the fact that if they could do it to him, who can't they not do it to, right? That means they could come after us and just make up anything. And before you know it, they take our rights away, our rights of search and seizure. They come into our house and do whatever they want. Why? Because the DOJ has been weaponized by this administration. The FBI is dirty by this administration. The Department of Homeland Security is a joke, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All these things that are happening is because we have a weak leadership. Now, if we had someone else that looked just as sexy as my dad, Trump, that was running this country, and they were doing the same things, I'd be with that person, you know. And I'm gonna be straight with you. Sometimes, you know, I would hear him talk these speeches. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's beautiful. And then he come to a point. I'm like, all right, man, let's close it up.
Yeah.
And then he'll start talking like, "Oh man, you
had to make a left turn.
No,
Stop
maybe
it.
I'm like, maybe you just please let the mic shut down."
So let me put a little now. I can put the numbers up here afterwards, but so I'm not going to give you an exact number, but again, these are things you guys can look up. So do you know who the number one deporter of illegal aliens has been as a president? Number one deporter.
No, who?
Barack Obama. Do you know who the number one allowers of illegals into the country has been?
I would say Biden.
Joe Biden. So you have
that's like a business they got going on.
Well, now think about that. Think about that for a second.
Here comes a conspiracy theory.
Why would they? Yeah. Why would that be? Why would you have a president at one time? And there's all kinds of video and everything on him saying, you can't come here illegally and all that kind of stuff. And most people would say, oh, no, Trump deported more. No, you got to look it up. The thing is Trump was creating a border system to where people were coming into this country legally, right, and following the proper process, and he wasn't having to deport people. See, here's the problem.
But he put the fear of God in them, though, too. They weren't like coming in caravans like they are now.
That's correct. So why all of a sudden the policy switch over? I mean, big time. There's this whole thing about people will talk about slavery days and everything, and that there was a switch in the party between the Democrats and the Republicans, right? And to this day, I mean, if you really look at it, who is the party that still wants segregation?
And I'm not saying this because I'm a conservative, but the progressive left,
absolutely,
they're the only ones that bring up race.
We want blacks in their own classrooms and all this kind of stuff. Guys, that's segregation.
The DEI is a new racism.
DEI is it's the soft racism, right? So these are all these things that you got to start going, hey, wait a minute, that's not right here. And don't
or exclude white people.
Exclude white people.
That's the big thing. I mean, like you have city agencies in California that are like throwing parties, and they have like a non-white party.
A non-white. Everybody
and
can
was an
attend,
Asian mayor.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what are you doing? Like at one point you were also being segregated, and I'm like, well, all right.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, these are things that we got to really pay attention to and look at. So why was there such a switchover? Why do you have, one of the most popular, and really Barack Obama was probably one of the more popular,
well-spoken.
Yeah, he's well-spoken. Really well-spoken. Since probably Kennedy,
what's the name was well-spoken too?
No, I mean popularity of Democratic presidents. Yeah. So, see, you keep interrupting me. Don't listen.
Oh, sorry. I'm on a timeout, guys. I'm on timeout.
All right. But so you have this popular president, and he's fully, I mean, nobody would deny that Barack Obama was 100% a liberal, Democrat, whatever you want to say. He was not a Republican. He was not a conservative, right? And so he's deporting the most people. And at that time, that wasn't so much people from Haiti and South America. That was pretty much people from Mexico, right? So
you could say it, Mexicans.
Yeah, Mexicans from Mexico. So then you get the guy that we currently have. All right, so the guy after him gets voted into office. Daddy Trump, right? Yep. Gets voted into office, and everybody's up in arms that he's going to be doing all this. He's going to deport people. He's putting kids in cages, which were put up by who?
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. So why did we make a big deal about that? Again, you said it a few minutes ago. The media has really, they all got together, and it was a one push, right, to put Trump under all this scrutiny and also put so much false information. You remember one of the first things he started doing that he coined the phrase, and people use it on both sides now. Fake news. That is fake news, right? And why did he say that? He's like, dude, you guys are straight up lying about that. That's not true. Now, there may be some truth in there, but you do a fabrication soup, and you put a little bit of truth in it, and the rest is nonsense. And people start to eat that up, right? They start to believe that this, okay, well, there's some, this part I know is true. So the rest of this has to be true because, like you said, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all these different companies, right? And here's the thing. There are six major owners of all the news, all the radio and everything in the country. 6. And I'll have to look it up, but George Soros just bought out
250 or something like that.
He just bought
radio
out
stations?
Radio stations. Yeah. So now, I mean, you're not going to be able to trust anything. It's all going to be a single-minded. It's a hive mind, of people preaching the same thing, and it's the incorrect doctrine that's out there. And it's one of the reasons that YouTube has become very popular. Whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right, people are listening to programming and stuff on here. They're going to places like Newsmax and some of these other places. And, you look at like Tucker Carlson, he got fired off of Fox News. So people are like, oh yeah, he got fired off and we hate Fox News. And now they're hating the fact that they let him go because after he had his whole deal with Putin, where he interviewed, Fox News had to play a clip of Tucker interviewing Putin on the Tucker Carlson network, and it had the Fox News thing. It's hysterical because you guys could have had an exclusive with this guy, and nope, here you are. So he's doing. So people are following that, and whether you like Tucker or not, that has nothing to do with it. The thing is that this is a person that went and did an interview that should have been done, not necessarily by him, by anybody.
Yeah.
The last 3 people that went to interview Putin, nobody said anything about them. And he's not a better or worse guy now than he was back then, right? So these news folks that go and interview Putin, nobody's talking about that. Nobody cares that they did interviews with him. Why all of a sudden Tucker Carlson? Well, because there's a narrative being created. Those last 3 people, there was no need for a narrative. Right. Now there is. So again, this is what's happening with Trump. This is what's coming up with our whole system because we're in an election year. I'm going to put a prediction out there. We're going to have some kind of new virus is going to poke his head coming up, this next year sometime. Where I pray for Trump. I really do, because I mean, if they can't put him in with these charges or whatever, I mean, it's been said many times out there. I wouldn't doubt them pulling the Kennedy on him.
That's horrible.
It is.
But just to go back on what you said, so Soros just acquired. So here's the thing about these acquisitions. A lot of times you can't go buy them because they're not selling them, right?
Right.
So the company is Odyssey, which is the nation's second largest network of radio stations.
Yep.
Second largest. So you can't go out and buy them, right? Because no, we're not for sale. We're not going to sell to you. But those companies have debt. They owe debt, right? They have debt that they owe. So, and they're trying to pay it off.
Right.
So what Soros fund management does, they'll come in and they'll buy or acquire, in this case, $400 million worth of debt from that company. Now they have a stake in it.
Right.
So now they have if you don't pay it, guess what's going to happen there? Whatever deal you had with that finance company said, oh, you got, 120 years to pay it off. Soros is going to say, nah, you got 10 years. I'm taking it. That's how they acquire these things. That's how they work. It's kind of like they're forced to do your bidding. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
it's legal loan sharking in a way.
Right. But here's Trump getting in trouble for doing something that's totally legal. Right.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't have a D in front of his name.
Right. So that's the thing. And so that's what Jay was talking about, and that's the second largest.
Yeah.
That own radio station. So, all that propaganda is going to be going out pretty quick.
Right. And again, just don't listen to us. Think for yourself on this. So if you called
listen to us. Don't talk about
call a financial advisor and say, hey, I got a bunch of money. I'm thinking about investing in this fledgling FM radio station. They are going to tell you to run the other direction, right?
Why? Yeah, they filed bankruptcy. What do you want to do?
They're filing bankruptcy. And the thing is, radio is dying. Between even XM and those channels are not, doing well. People are listening to streaming, Spotify, all those other kind of things. Technology is changing. Radio stations are on the out, and people that are doing investments know that. Why would you be investing in radio, something that is on the way out? Because you don't care about the money you make. You care about the influence it allows you to put out there. So,
and a lot of these radio. Here's the thing: it's not just radio stations. A lot of these radio stations own stations that are then rented or leased to big companies that run either streaming, podcasting, whatever the case is, out of those buildings, or they're an umbrella under
correct,
or a company under that umbrella,
it's conglomeration.
So it's either way you look at it. If radio's dying, they still have a stake at something else, so it's not a total loss. And Soros, that's where he puts his money in, and that's how he's gotten so rich, and that's how the left wins, because Trump, like right now, Trump I think waived an appeal or something like that. As there's something I don't know exactly what it is, but it's on this this whole, was it February 6th?
January
6th thing. He waived something as where he could have claimed because he was president or something.
To the Supreme Court.
He said, you know what? I'm done with it. Just do what you got to do. I got too much stuff going on that I need to work on. Do what you have to do. And he's never been charged. So with any of that,
right.
Well, and that was his biggest thing of some of these people removing him from the ballot, like Colorado or whoever it was that they did it. That was their main thing. Yeah. But it went up, and it says no, you can't do that, because they're, they went to the Supreme Court and they're like, no, you can't do that.
You can't do that. Yeah. And Trump's got some, I don't know if you've read anything on his lawyers, but his lawyers are amazing.
Sexy.
Yeah. No. And
was that what you're talking about?
Yeah. No, but he's got some super high, powerful lawyers that know their stuff, and they probably advised him and said, "Listen, don't even sweat that. That whole thing's done. They have nothing. This is all, again, it's a bunch of propaganda that's been posted up. I'm not saying that the guy's a saint and probably didn't say something or do something, and we've all said or done something.
I don't care what you say. I'm making a saint card.
Yeah, I'm making a saint card.
Saint Donald Trump.
Saint Joseph card. Not Uncle Joe. Joe here.
Not that Joe.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, listen, thanks so much for joining us once again on this wonderful Tuesday. We hope you had fun and learned something. Please, again, hit that notification and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Thumbs up. And if you hated this, we're probably going to get a lot of hate on this episode, but that's okay. That's okay. We want to,
we'll do an episode on Lady Bird if you want. I don't care. Lyndon Johnson's.
Oh yeah. Oof, man, that guy was pretty rough.
Maybe we'll do one of Nixon. I'm not a crook.
I'm not a crook.
But yeah, either way, guys, remember to subscribe, like, and follow, and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And any suggestions, let us know. We've been getting some real good suggestions on some other episodes that will be coming up pretty soon.
Definitely.
And don't forget, Outspoken Men's Edition, mid-month Wednesdays.
Yeah, mid-month Wednesdays, Outspoken Men's Edition. It's a really good one. We've already gotten some really good feedback on it. And just know that every Tuesday we do these and we come back right here. So
yeah, back to our normal selves.
Yeah. So remember, take care of one another.
Do better, be better.
And as always, God bless America.
We'll see you.
See ya.